Marcus Chen finished checking on the last horse in the stable. The old Mare was doing better after her leg injury. He packed his medical bag and walked toward his truck. The Montana sky was getting dark, and snow was starting to fall. As a veterinarian, Marcus had seen many injured animals. He lived alone on his family's old ranch, far from the nearest town. Most people thought he was crazy for living so far from civilization. But Marcus liked the quiet. He liked helping animals that could not help themselves. He was about to start his truck when he heard a strange sound. It was not like any animal he knew. The sound was weak and full of pain. Marcus grabbed his flashlight and medical bag. He followed the sound toward the woods behind his barn. The sound led him to a small crater in the ground. Steam was rising from the hole. At first, Marcus thought a meteorite had crashed. But when he pointed his flashlight down, he saw something that made his heart stop. A creature lay at the bottom of the crater. It looked almost human, but not quite. The being was small, maybe the size of a child. Its skin had a strange blue-green color that seemed to shine in the flashlight beam. Long, thin arms ended in hands with 4 fingers instead of 5. The creature's head was larger than a human's. With big dark eyes that were closed, Marcus could see that the creature was badly hurt. Dark liquid that might be blood was coming from several wounds. One of its legs was bent at a wrong angle. Its chest was moving up and down very slowly. For a moment, Marcus just stared. His mind could not believe what he was seeing. This was not an animal from Earth. This was something from somewhere else. Something from space. But then his training took over. Injured was injured, no matter what kind of creature it was. Marcus climbed down into the crater carefully. The creature was unconscious and felt very light when he lifted it. Its skin was warm, but felt different from human skin. Marcus carried the creature to his truck and laid it gently in the back seat. He drove quickly but carefully back to his clinic. His hands were shaking as he unlocked the door and turned on the lights. He cleared everything off his main examination table and placed the creature on it. Under the bright lights, he could see more details. The being's features were delicate, almost female. Her breathing was very shallow. Marcus guessed it was a female because of the gentle curves of her face. Marcus had no idea how to treat an alien, but he knew about treating injured animals. He started with the basics. He checked her breathing and tried to find a pulse. Her heartbeat was faster than a human's, but steady. Her temperature seemed normal. The worst wound was on her side. It looked like something had torn through her strange, shimmery clothing and into her flesh. Marcus cleaned the wound gently. The alien's blood was dark blue instead of red. It had tiny sparkles in it that seemed to move on their own as Marcus worked. He noticed that the alien's body was more like a human's than he first thought. She had lungs, a heart, and other organs in similar places. But everything seemed more efficient, more advanced somehow. He stitched up the worst wounds using techniques he used on large animals. The alien's skin seemed to heal faster than it should. As soon as Marcus closed a cut with stitches, the area around it started to look better. The alien's broken leg was easier to fix. Marcus set the bone and put it in a small splint. Her bones felt lighter than human bones, but they were also stronger. While he worked, Marcus kept talking to the unconscious alien. He had always talked to the animals he treated. It helped him stay calm, and sometimes it seemed to help the animals too. "Don't worry," he said softly. "I'm going to help you. I don't know where you came from, but you're safe now." As the night went on, Marcus did everything he could think of. He gave the alien fluids through an 4-tube. He wrapped her other injuries with clean bandages. He even played soft music, thinking it might help her rest. Near dawn, something amazing happened. The alien's wounds started healing much faster. The cuts that Marcus had stitched closed completely. The swelling around her broken leg went down. Her breathing became stronger and more regular. Then, as the first light of morning came through the windows, the alien's large dark eyes opened. She looked around the room with confusion and fear. When her eyes found Marcus, she tried to sit up quickly but fell back down with a small cry of pain. Marcus moved slowly toward her, holding his hands up to show he was not dangerous. "It's okay," he said in a gentle voice. "You're hurt, but you're safe. I'm Marcus. I found you crashed in my woods." The alien stared at him for a long moment. Her eyes were larger than human eyes and completely black, like looking into deep space. But there was intelligence in them and something else. Gratitude. She tried to speak, but the sounds she made were not like any language Marcus had ever heard. They were musical and soft, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. But then she did something that surprised Marcus completely. She pointed to herself and made a sound that was almost like Zara. Then she pointed to Marcus and repeated his name perfectly. She was trying to learn his language. Marcus smiled and nodded. "Zara," he said, pointing to her. "That's a beautiful name." For the first time since he found her, Zara smiled back. It was a small, weak smile, but it was full of hope. Marcus realized that this was the beginning of something incredible. He had saved the life of someone from another world. But he had no idea that by tomorrow morning, that simple act of kindness would change everything. Outside, the Montana snow continued to fall, covering the crater where Zara's ship had crashed. In his warm clinic, Marcus watched over his new patient and wondered what tomorrow would bring. Marcus woke up on the small couch in his clinic. He had stayed there all night to watch over Zara. When he opened his eyes, he saw her sitting up on the examination table, looking around the room with curiosity. "Good morning," Marcus said softly, not wanting to scare her. Zara turned to him and made those musical sounds again. Then she pointed to the window where sunlight was coming in and said clearly, "Good morning." Marcus was amazed. "You learn fast," he said with a smile. Over the next few hours, Marcus discovered that Zara was incredibly intelligent. She picked up English words quickly by pointing at things and listening to Marcus say their names. By noon, she could speak simple sentences, though her voice had a strange musical quality that made even ordinary words sound beautiful. Marcus made breakfast for both of them. He was not sure what Zara could eat, so he offered her different foods. She tried everything but seemed to like fruits and vegetables best. She ate very little, but Marcus noticed that the small amount of food seemed to give her a lot of energy. While they ate, Zara started to tell Marcus about herself. She spoke slowly, sometimes drawing pictures to help explain things Marcus could not understand. Her story was both amazing and terrifying. Zara came from a planet called Veltara, which was very far away among the stars. Her people, the Veltar, were peaceful beings who loved art, music, and learning. They had never hurt anyone and had lived happily for thousands of years. But then another race found their planet. These beings called themselves the Kethmer. They were warriors who traveled from world to world, taking what they wanted. The Kethmer had powerful ships and terrible weapons. "They came to our world like a storm," Zara said, her big dark eyes filling with sadness. "They wanted to make us slaves. When we said no, they began to destroy everything." Zara drew pictures of her home world burning. She drew pictures of her people running and hiding. Marcus felt sick as he understood what had happened. "My people tried to fight," Zara continued. "But we were not warriors. We made art, not weapons. The Kethmer killed most of us." Zara was one of only a few hundred Veltar who escaped the destruction. She had been flying in a small ship, trying to reach other Veltar survivors who were scattered across the galaxy. But her ship had been damaged in a fight with Kethmer hunters. She had crashed on Earth while trying to find a safe place to hide. But Zara was not just any survivor. She carried something very important inside her body. The Veltar had given her special genetic information that could help rebuild their race. If she could reach the other survivors and share this information, the Veltar might survive as a people. That is why the Kethmer hunt me, Zara explained. If they catch me, my people will die forever. Marcus felt angry when he learned this. He had always hated bullies, and the Kethmer sounded like the worst bullies in the universe. How many of them are looking for you? He asked. Zara looked scared when she answered. Many. They have ships that can find me anywhere. They will come here soon. She stood up, though Marcus could see it still hurt her to move. I must leave, she said. If I stay, they will hurt you and your people. I cannot let that happen. But Marcus shook his head firmly. You're not going anywhere. You're still hurt, and I'm not going to let you face those monsters alone. Zara stared at him in surprise. But they will kill you, she said. Why would you risk your life for someone you just met? Marcus thought about his answer for a moment. Where I come from, when someone needs help, you help them. It doesn't matter who they are or where they come from. You don't abandon people who are counting on you, even if helping me means danger for everyone on your world. Especially then, Marcus said. That's what makes us human. We don't back down when things get tough. Zara looked confused by this. On my world, we have a saying. The smart mouse runs from the cat. Why do humans not run? Marcus smiled. Because sometimes the mouse needs to bite the cat. As the day went on, Marcus learned more about Zara and her people. The Veltar were amazing beings. They could heal much faster than humans. They lived for hundreds of years. They could learn new languages in just hours. They had built beautiful cities that floated in the air and ships that could travel between stars. But they had one weakness. They were too gentle. They could not imagine that anyone would want to hurt others for no reason. This kindness had made them easy targets for the Kethmer. My people always believed that if you are good to others, they will be good to you, Zara explained. We learned too late that some beings have darkness in their hearts. Marcus understood this. In his work as a veterinarian, he had seen how predators and prey live together in nature. Sometimes being kind was not enough. Sometimes you had to fight to protect what you loved. Tell me about these Kethmer, Marcus said. What are they like? How do they fight? Zara's description made Marcus think of a cross between giant lizards and insects. They were bigger than humans, with thick skin that was hard to hurt. They had sharp claws and teeth. But their real strength was their technology. They had weapons that could destroy cities and ships that could travel faster than light. They are not smart like my people, Zara said, but they are very good at destroying things. They think that being strong means hurting others. As evening came, Zara worked on something that surprised Marcus. She had found pieces of electronic equipment in his clinic and was putting them together in ways that seemed impossible. Her four-fingered hands moved very quickly and precisely. What are you making? Marcus asked. A communicator, Zara replied. If I can contact my people, they might be able to help. But even as she worked, both of them knew that help might not come in time. Zara had explained that the Kethmer ships were very fast. If they had been tracking her when she crashed, they would arrive soon. That night, as Marcus made a bed for Zara in the clinic, she thanked him again for saving her life. You are very brave, Marcus-chan, she said. I have traveled to many worlds, but I have never met anyone like humans. What makes you think we're special? Marcus asked. Zara thought for a moment. Other races I have met, they think about themselves first. They ask, what will this cost me? Or, how will this help me? But you saw someone who needed help, and you helped without thinking about the cost. That is very rare in the galaxy. As Marcus fell asleep on the couch again, he thought about what Zara had said. He had never thought of himself as special. He was just a veterinarian who lived alone and took care of animals. But maybe being human meant more than he had realized. Outside, the wind was getting stronger. Marcus did not know it yet, but high above the clouds, alien ships were already entering Earth's solar system. By morning, everything would change. Marcus woke up to the sound of his dogs barking outside. But this was not their normal bark. This was the sound of pure terror. He sat up quickly and looked toward the window. What he saw made his blood turn cold. Huge shadows were moving across his property. Ships the size of buildings hung in the air above his ranch. They were black and covered with sharp edges, like flying weapons. The ships made no sound, which somehow made them even more frightening. "Zara," Marcus whispered, rushing to wake her up. "They're here." Zara opened her eyes and immediately understood. She could feel the presence of the Kethmer ships, even before she saw them. "There are so many," she said, her voice full of fear. "I never thought they would send so many soldiers for just one Veltar." Marcus looked out the window again. Hundreds of dark figures were surrounding his property. The Kethmer soldiers were even more terrible in person than Zara had described. They were tall, maybe 7 feet high, with thick scales covering their bodies. Their heads looked like a mix of snake and insect, with multiple eyes that glowed red in the morning light. Each soldier carried weapons that hummed with dangerous energy. "Hide," Marcus told Zara. "Get in the back room and lock the door." But Zara shook her head. "It will not help. They can sense me anywhere on this planet. I should go to them. Maybe if I surrender, they will leave your world alone." "No," Marcus said firmly. He went to his gun cabinet and took out his grandfather's old hunting rifle. It was not much compared to alien weapons, but it was all he had. "Nobody surrenders on my property." Before Zara could argue, a voice boomed across the ranch. It spoke in English, but the words sounded wrong, like they were being forced through a mouth that was not made for human speech. "Human of this dwelling," the voice said, "we are the Kethmer Empire. You harbor a criminal who belongs to us. Send out the Veltar female, and no harm will come to you." Marcus walked to his front door and opened it. Standing just outside his fence was the largest Kethmer he had ever seen. This one was different from the soldiers. His scales were darker, and he wore what looked like armor made of metal and bone. Strange symbols were carved into his forehead. "You must be the boss," Marcus called out, holding his rifle loosely at his side. "I'm Marcus Chen. This is my land." The Kethmer leader's multiple eyes focused on Marcus. "I am Commander Threshkin. You will give us the Veltar breeder, human. This is not a request." "Well, Commander," Marcus said, stepping down from his porch, "I'm afraid I can't do that. The lady is under my protection now." Commander Threshkin made a sound that might have been laughter, but it sounded like rocks grinding together. "Protection? You are one small being with a primitive weapon. I have 500 warriors with weapons that can turn your bones to dust." "I can see that," Marcus agreed. "Pretty impressive. But here's the thing, Commander. Where I come from, it doesn't matter how many of you there are. When someone asks for help, we help them, even if it means your death." Marcus thought about this for a moment. Especially then. Commander Threshkin was quiet for several seconds. He seemed confused by Marcus's answer. "Your species makes no sense. The Veltar female is nothing to you. She is not your mate or your offspring. Why do you risk everything for her?" "Because it's the right thing to do," Marcus said simply. "Right thing?" The commander repeated the words like they were foreign concepts. "There is no right or wrong in the universe. There is no right or wrong in the universe. There is only strong and weak. You are weak. We are strong. Give us what we want, or we will take it." Marcus shook his head. "See, That's where you're wrong, Commander. Being strong isn't about having the biggest weapons or the most soldiers. Real strength is standing up for what you believe in, even when you're scared. You are not scared, Commander Threshkin asked, sounding genuinely curious. Terrified, Marcus admitted. But that doesn't change anything. The commander studied Marcus for a long moment. You interest me, human. I have conquered 47 worlds. I have faced armies and fleets. But I have never met a being who stands alone against impossible odds for no personal gain. I will make you an offer. Marcus waited. Join us, Commander Threshkin said. Become part of the Kethmer Empire. We will give you wealth beyond imagination. We will show you the stars. You will rule entire planets in our name. All you must do is step aside and let us take the Veltar female. Marcus actually smiled at this. That's a generous offer, Commander. But I think I'll pass. Why? Because I like who I am, Marcus said. If I handed over someone who trusted me to save my own skin, I wouldn't be me anymore. I'd be someone I couldn't look at in the mirror. Commander Threshkin's head tilted to one side. You would rather die as yourself than live as something greater. I'd rather live as myself, Marcus corrected. But if that's not an option, then yeah, I'll take the first choice. At that moment, Zara appeared in the doorway behind Marcus. Despite his orders to hide, she had come to stand with him. Marcus, please, she said. I cannot let you die for me. I will go with them. Marcus didn't turn around, but his voice was gentle when he spoke to her. Zara, remember what I told you yesterday? About not abandoning people who are counting on you. Well, you're counting on me now, and I don't abandon my responsibilities. But they will kill you. Maybe, Marcus agreed. But they'll have to work for it. Commander Threshkin watched this exchange with growing confusion. You truly will die for her, he said. It was not a question, if that's what it takes. Even though she is alien to you? Even though helping her brings danger to your entire species? Marcus finally turned his head slightly to look at Zara. She was scared. But there was something else in her eyes now. Hope. Someone was finally fighting for her people. Not running from the fight. Commander, Marcus said, turning back to face the alien leader. I don't care if she has blue skin and 4 fingers. I don't care if she's from another galaxy. She's someone who needs help, and she asked me for it. That makes her my responsibility. Your species is insane, Commander Threshkin said, but there was something like respect in his voice now. Maybe, Marcus said, raising his rifle. But we're the good kind of insane. Commander Threshkin raised one clawed hand, and all around the property, weapons began to charge with a high whining sound. You cannot win, human. You cannot even hurt us with that primitive weapon. Probably not, Marcus agreed. But I can try. And maybe that's enough. The silence stretched out between them. In the distance, Marcus could hear helicopters approaching. The human military had finally detected the alien ships and was coming to investigate. But they were still hours away. Commander Threshkin lowered his hand slightly. You have one last chance, human. Walk away. Leave this place. We will take the Veltar female and go. Your world will be safe. Marcus looked around at his property. The ranch where his grandfather had been born. The clinic where he had saved hundreds of animals. The home he had built with his own hands. Then he looked at Zara, standing behind him with tears in her large, dark eyes. This is my home, Marcus said quietly. And she's my friend. You want her? Come and take her. Commander Threshkin's eyes glowed brighter with anger. So be it, human. You have chosen death. But as the Kethmer weapons powered up for the final time, Marcus smiled grimly. He had bought time, and time was all he needed. Because he had noticed something that the aliens had not. High above them, moving through the clouds, other shapes were beginning to appear. Sleeker ships with the flowing lines that, Zara had shown him in her drawings. The Veltar resistance had received Zara's signal, and they were coming home. Marcus saw the Veltar ships appearing through the clouds, but he knew they were still minutes away. He needed to buy more time. As Commander Thrashkin raised his weapon, Marcus did something completely unexpected. He lowered his rifle. "Wait," Marcus called out. "Before you kill me, I have a question." Commander Thrashkin paused, curious despite himself. "Speak quickly, human." "Your soldiers," Marcus said, looking around at the Kethmer warriors. Some of them looked sick. It was true. Marcus's veterinary eye had noticed that several of the alien soldiers were moving slowly. Their scales had a dull color, and some were breathing heavily. "What do you know of this?" Commander Thrashkin demanded. "Earth has diseases your people have never seen," Marcus explained. "Your soldiers are getting infected just by breathing our air. In a few hours, they'll be too sick to fight. In a day, some of them might die." This was partly true. Marcus had noticed that some of the soldiers looked unwell, probably from Earth bacteria they had no immunity to. But he was exaggerating the danger to buy time. Commander Thrashkin looked around at his soldiers with new concern. "Can you cure this?" "I'm a doctor," Marcus said. "I could help them. But why should I help someone who's trying to kill me?" The commander was quiet for a long moment. Marcus could see him thinking. The Kethmer valued strength above all else, but sick soldiers were not strong soldiers. "You would heal our warriors?" Commander Thrashkin asked suspiciously. "I heal anyone who needs healing," Marcus said honestly. "It's what I do. Even your enemies?" "Especially my enemies," Marcus replied. "Where I come from, showing mercy to someone who can't fight back isn't weakness. It's strength." Commander Thrashkin made a gesture, and several soldiers brought forward one of their sick comrades. The alien warrior was clearly suffering. His breathing was labored, and his scales had turned a sickly yellow color. Marcus examined the soldier carefully. He had no idea about Kethmer biology, but he knew about infection and fever. He went to his clinic and returned with antibiotics and fever medicine designed for large animals. "This might help," Marcus said, giving the soldier an injection. "But he needs rest and fluids." Within an hour, the sick soldier was breathing easier. His scales were returning to their normal color. Word spread quickly among the other Kethmer, and soon Marcus had a line of sick soldiers waiting for treatment. As he worked, Marcus learned something interesting. The Kethmer soldiers were not evil monsters. They were beings following orders, just like human soldiers. Many of them had families back home. They talked about their children and their fears, just like anyone else. One young soldier, whose scales were barely darker than Zara's skin, spoke to Marcus in broken English. "Why you help us?" The soldier asked. "We come to hurt you." Marcus finished bandaging a cut on the soldier's arm. "Because you're hurt," he said simply. "That's reason enough." The young soldier stared at Marcus with confusion. "This not makes sense. In Kethmer space, you help only family, only tribe." "Well," Marcus said, "I guess I have a very big family." While Marcus treated the soldiers, Zara worked frantically in the clinic. She had managed to build a communication device using parts from Marcus's equipment and pieces from her crashed ship. She was sending signals to any Veltar ships that might be nearby. But she was doing something else too. She was learning about human technology by watching Marcus work. The way he combined old equipment with new ideas amazed her. Humans, she realized, were natural inventors. They could make tools from anything. "Marcus," she called out when he came back inside, "I think I can modify your truck." "Modify it how?" Zara showed him plans she had drawn. Using parts from her ship and knowledge of human engineering, she thought she could make the truck move much faster and become much harder to hurt. "It won't be as good as a real spaceship," she explained, "but it might give us an advantage if we need to run." Do it, Marcus said. But also keep trying to contact your people. As afternoon turned to evening, the situation became stranger. Marcus's property had turned into a kind of field hospital. Cathmer soldiers rested under trees while they recovered from Earth diseases. Marcus moved among them, checking temperatures and changing bandages. Commander Threshkin watched all of this with growing confusion. I do not understand your species, he admitted to Marcus. You know we will kill you when my soldiers are healthy again, yet you heal them anyway. Marcus was giving water to a soldier who had a fever. Maybe I'm hoping you'll change your mind. We do not change our minds. We are Cathmer. Everyone can change, Marcus said. Even you, Commander. You think I could become weak like you? Marcus looked up at the huge alien warrior. I think you could become strong like me. That evening, something unexpected happened. A young Cathmer soldier approached Marcus while he was eating dinner outside the clinic. The soldier was one of the ones Marcus had treated earlier. Human Marcus, the soldier said carefully. I want to thank you. You're welcome, Marcus replied. How are you feeling? Better. Much better. The soldier sat down across from Marcus. I have a question. Why you help enemies? Marcus thought about how to explain it. On my world, we have a saying. We are all fighting the same war against suffering. It doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from. If you're hurt, you need help. The soldier was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that surprised Marcus. I have younglings at home. Children, you say. Sometimes they get sick. When that happens, I just want someone to help them. I do not care who. I just want them to get better. That's exactly what I mean, Marcus said gently. But Commander Threshkin says Veltar are enemies. Says we must take the female for Empire. Marcus looked toward the clinic where Zara was still working. What do you think? Does she look dangerous to you? The soldier followed his gaze. Through the window, they could see Zara carefully repairing a piece of medical equipment that had broken during the day. Her movements were gentle and precise. She looks sad, the soldier said finally. Like my younglings when they have bad dreams. Her whole family was killed, Marcus explained. Her entire world was destroyed. She's the last hope her people have to survive. And she's just trying to live. The soldier's scales changed color slightly, which Marcus was learning meant strong emotion. This is not what we were told. What were you told? That Veltar are dangerous. That they make weapons to hurt Cathmer children. That we must stop them before they destroy us. Marcus felt a chill. And you believe that? We are soldiers. We believe what commanders tell us. At that moment, Marcus understood something terrible. The Cathmer soldiers were not evil. They had been lied to. They thought they were protecting their own families by hunting the Veltar. Listen to me, Marcus said urgently. Your commanders lied to you. The Veltar never hurt anyone. They make art and music, not weapons. Someone used your love for your families to make you do terrible things. The young soldier stared at Marcus with wide eyes. You truly believe this? I know it, Marcus said. Zara couldn't hurt a fly. She spent her whole time here trying to heal and help. Does that sound like a dangerous warrior to you? Before the soldier could answer, shouts erupted from around the property. Every Cathmer was looking up at the sky, where new ships were appearing. These ships were beautiful, with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to glow with inner light. The Veltar resistance had arrived, but instead of attacking, the new ships just hung in the air, waiting. A voice came from them, speaking in the musical Veltar language. Zara ran out of the clinic, calling back in the same language. What are they saying? Marcus asked. They want to talk, Zara said, her eyes bright with hope. They are asking for a meeting. They want to end this war. Commander Threshkan stood up, his weapons ready. There will be no talk. We have orders. But the young soldier Marcus had been stepped forward. Commander, he said bravely, what if the human speaks truth? What if we were told lies? Silence. Commander Threshkin roared, but other soldiers were starting to murmur among themselves. Marcus's kindness had planted seeds of doubt. They had seen that the human would help even his enemies. They had seen that Zara was gentle and kind. Maybe, just maybe, they had been fighting the wrong war. As the ships faced each other in the darkening sky, Marcus realized that the real battle was not going to be fought with weapons. It was going to be fought with words and truth, and the hope that even soldiers could choose to stop being soldiers when they learned they were being used. The future of both species hung in the balance. And somehow, it all depended on what happened next in a small ranch in Montana. The meeting took place in Marcus's front yard as the sun began to set. It was the strangest diplomatic gathering in the history of the galaxy. And it happened on a small ranch in Montana. 3 Veltar representatives landed in a beautiful ship that looked like it was made of crystal and starlight. They were tall and graceful, with the same blue-green skin as Zara, but marked by years of war and sadness. Their leader was an elderly female named Silas, who spoke perfect English. We have come for our daughter, Silas said. Looking at Zara with eyes full of love and relief, Commander Threshkin stepped forward, his weapons still ready. The breeder belongs to the Empire. She carries genetic materials that will strengthen our forces. Actually, Marcus said, stepping between them, she doesn't belong to anyone. She's a person, not property. Both alien leaders looked at Marcus with surprise. They had been so focused on each other that they had forgotten about the human who had started all of this. You have no authority here. Primitive, Commander Threshkin growled. Maybe not, Marcus agreed. But this is my property, and these are my guests. So if you want to fight, you'll have to go through me first. Silas studied Marcus with interest. You are the one who saved Zara? I just helped someone who needed help, Marcus said. Do you know what you have done? Silas asked. By protecting her, you may have saved our entire species. And by protecting her, Commander Threshkin added angrily, he has endangered his own species. When the Empire learns of this world's interference, they will return with a full fleet. Marcus felt a chill of fear, but he tried not to show it. Then I guess we need to find a solution that works for everyone. There is no solution, Commander Threshkin declared. The Empire takes what it wants. But the young Kethmer soldier Marcus had treated stepped forward again. Commander, he said carefully, what if there was another way? Speak quickly, Commander Threshkin ordered. The soldier looked at Marcus, then at Zara, then back at his commander. The human healed us. He showed mercy to enemies. He treated our sick even though we came to destroy his world. Maybe there is wisdom in his ways. Wisdom? Commander Threshkin's voice was dangerous. Think, Commander, the soldier continued, growing braver. How many worlds have we conquered? How many battles have we fought? And are we stronger? Are we happier? Are our children safer? A murmur went through the Kethmer soldiers. The young soldier was asking questions they had all thought but never dared to voice. Marcus saw his opportunity. May I ask you something, Commander? Do you have children? Commander Threshkin's eyes narrowed. I have 3 offspring, and you fight to protect them, right? To make sure they have a safe future? Of course, Marcus gestured toward Zara. That's all she wants, too. She wants her people to have a future. She wants Veltar children to be born and grow up safe. How is that different from what you want? The difference, Commander Threshkin said slowly, is that we are strong enough to take what we need. Are you? Marcus asked. Because from where I stand, it looks like you're all trapped in a war that nobody can win. The Veltar run, you chase them, more people die on both sides. And for what? What do you actually gain? Silas spoke up for the first time. The human speaks truth. We have been running for decades. Our children are born in hiding. They know only fear and death. This is no life for anyone. And what do you propose? Commander Thrashkin asked sarcastically. Marcus took a deep breath. He was about to suggest something completely crazy, but it might be the only chance for peace. What if Earth became a neutral zone? He said, a place where both your species could meet and talk instead of fight. A place where Veltar could live safely and Kethmer could learn that they don't need to conquer everyone to be secure. Both alien leaders stared at him in amazement. You would do this? Silas asked. You would risk your world becoming involved in our war? We're already involved, Marcus pointed out. The question is whether we're going to be involved in a war or involved in a peace. Commander Thrashkin was quiet for a long moment. Marcus could see him thinking. Finally, the alien commander spoke. Even if I agreed to this insanity, the Empire would never accept it. They would send fleets to destroy this world. What if they didn't know? Marcus suggested. What if the soldiers here reported that the Veltar died in the crash? That there was nothing to find? The young soldier who had been speaking stepped forward again. Commander, many of us are tired of war. Tired of being away from our families. If we could tell the Empire that the threat was ended. You asked me to lie to my superiors. Commander Thrashkin said, I'm asking you to choose peace. Marcus replied. The silence stretched out for what felt like hours. Above them, the stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Ships from 2 different civilizations hung in the air, waiting for a decision that could change the galaxy. Finally, Commander Thrashkin spoke. You would trust us? Even after we came here to destroy you? Trust has to start somewhere, Marcus said. And it has to start with someone. Why not here? Why not now? Commander Thrashkin looked around at his soldiers. He could see doubt in their eyes, but also hope. Hope for something better than endless war. What guarantee do I have that the Veltar will not use this sanctuary to build weapons against us? Silas answered immediately. You have my word. And you have our nature. We are builders, not destroyers. We have never made weapons of war. And what guarantee do the Veltar have that we will honor this agreement? Marcus stepped forward. You have my guarantee. Earth will be neutral ground. Any Kethmer who comes here peacefully will be welcomed. Any who come with violence will face every human on the planet. Commander Thrashkin actually laughed at this. You think your primitive weapons could stop the Kethmer Empire? Maybe not, Marcus admitted. But we'd sure as hell try. And you've seen what just one human can do when he's protecting something he cares about. Imagine what 7 billion of us could do. The alien commander studied Marcus's face and saw no doubt there, no fear. Only determination. You truly mean this, he said finally. Every word. Commander Thrashkin turned to his soldiers. What say you? Do we return to the Empire with news of success, or do we try something that has never been tried before? The young soldier who had first spoken up raised his weapon above his head and powered it down. I choose peace, he declared. One by one, the other soldiers did the same. Not all of them, but most. Those who could not accept peace gathered together and left in one of the smaller ships, returning to Kethmer space to report what they had witnessed. But the majority stayed. That night, as Marcus treated more sick soldiers and Zara helped translate between the species, something beautiful began to happen. Kethmer and Veltar began talking to each other, not as enemies, but as people. They discovered they had more in common than they had ever imagined. Both species loved their children. Both feared for the future. Both were tired of war and death and running. Commander Threshkin found himself sitting next to Silas, sharing stories of their respective worlds. The Kethmer warrior learned that the Veltar had never built weapons because they had never needed them. They had lived in peace for thousands of years because they had learned to solve problems with words instead of violence. How? Commander Threshkin asked. How do you resolve conflicts without fighting? We listen, Silas explained. We try to understand what the other person really needs. Usually, we find that we all want the same things: safety, food, love, a future for our children. As dawn approached, Marcus realized that something incredible had happened. His small ranch had become the site of the first peace treaty between galactic civilizations. And it had all started because he could not walk away from someone who needed help. A year later, Earth had become exactly what Marcus had hoped: a sanctuary world where refugees from across the galaxy could find safety. The Veltar had built a beautiful settlement in the mountains, where they created art and music and began the slow process of rebuilding their civilization. Many of the Kethmer soldiers had stayed too. They learned new ways to be strong that did not involve hurting others. They became protectors instead of conquerors, helping to defend Earth from other threats that appeared among the stars. Marcus returned to his veterinary practice, but now his patients included beings from a dozen different worlds. Zara became his assistant and partner, teaching him about alien biology while learning about Earth creatures. Sometimes, late at night, Marcus would sit on his porch and look up at the stars. The sky was no longer empty. Ships moved between the lights, bringing refugees to safety and taking messages of hope to distant worlds. Commander Threshkin, who now went by the name Thren, often joined him. The former warrior had become the leader of Earth's new peacekeeping force, protecting the sanctuary world from any who would disturb its peace. Do you ever regret it? Thren asked one evening, giving up your quiet life to become the guardian of the galaxy. Marcus smiled and scratched behind the ears of a six-legged cat-like creature that Zara had found abandoned on a refugee ship. Nah, he said. Turns out I like having a big family. Above them, the stars twinkled with the lights of 1,000 civilizations. And in a small ranch in Montana, a human veterinarian had proven that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is not a weapon or a fleet of ships,